completely covered and completely, where no one can see them but them. And traditionally, they're also cheating on those women, by the way, with the same type of like sleazy women that they don't want their woman to look like. So like my dad, I could almost guarantee you was cheating on my mom. And she's one of the most beautiful, physically humans that I know. And so many men have beautiful wives and are still cheating or abusing them, and then doing the cheating behavior on the side. But those are just some of my, what I've seen over the years from these types of, situations.
Right. Wow. That's it's so like heavy. It's so heavy to talk about. And I'm sure that like,
it is.
I mean, I'm sure it's heavy for you to talk about, but this is what you do. But like sitting here listening to it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's amazing that you want to help these women because they need it. And like I said, this topic isn't talked about much, but it needs to be talked about more. And there needs to be more awareness.
I give you credit for putting it out there. When I first started posting about my story on social media, people wanted to shut me up, I had people posting back like, well, there's always a different side to the story. Like, no, there's never a different side. Like, if you're being abused, you're being abused, and that's the only side that matters, and it's not your fault. And you didn't push their buttons, and it's, they should. I remember when Paul and I were first dating again, and I was in my apartment, and we had the small little kitchen, right, the alley kitchen, and he was cutting tomatoes, and I was cutting lettuce, and our backs were to each other. And we were in a heated conversation, and we turned around to talk to each other. And when we turned around, he was talking with his hands because he's Italian. And he is talking with his hands, and I flinched back, like physically, like I flinched back. And he starts crying. He's like, did you think I was going to hit you? And I was like, I know you would never, but like that was like my immediate reaction, and it's just like it affects every area of your life. And, I think and I told that story on socials one time, and many women privately messaged me like their story. And I think that's why this is important, Steph, that you're doing this podcast, is you're talking about topics and broaching topics that people shy away from.
Right.
And if we don't talk about that, we're as a collective going to get worse as humanity.
Right. It's our choice to change it. Like, yes, we're two people, but 2 people knows another 2 people knows another 5 people. Like, we can make a difference if we decide to talk about it and make it known.
Yes. Amen.
So with On the Wings of Angels, kind of the women who are seeking to get out of their situation, what does On the Wings of Angels offer for these women?
So we are offering community support and resources. We have an incredible board, including you, which I'm so grateful for, and including Ben. So we're trying to target the different arenas that women, need when they remove themselves. And even men, like if men are in a toxic situation, in an abusive situation, because that happens to men too, is find these resources that will provide solutions. So like when I moved out and didn't know what I was going to do. I found my own housing. People provided me kitchen stuff, clothes, like all of that stuff. But let's say you're a woman or a man and you don't know what to do. So you call an organization like us and we take you through an interview process. Like there's a questionnaire on our website. What do you need? Do you need housing? Do you need childcare? Do you need food? Do you need money? Do you need to pay your mortgage payment? Do you need to find a house? Do you need financial planning? Like, do you need health and, wellness services like you provide? Do you need therapy, mental health therapy? We have therapists on board. And so all of our people are going to be providing these services. And the commitment, there's going to be a commitment letter in which the folks that sign. It says, our commitment to you is these things. We're going to provide you with these things. You're going to go through our program. Your commitment to us is that you're not going to revert back to the abusive situation, right? It's like, we're going to give you a probationary period, et cetera, and there's systems in place for this. And then what happens is we both sign that, we both commit to each other, and then they're going to have like a wellness checkup. So like once a week, they're going to be checked in on, how are you doing? What else do you need? And then each person in charge of those departments will be accommodating their needs, because not everyone's going to need childcare. Not everyone's going to need healthcare. Not everyone's going to need and so I had one lady come to me, and we closed her loan, and she didn't think she could get approved for a loan. And so she would have been the perfect candidate. All right, we're going to set you up with a financial planner like Ben, and we're going to set you up with home and realtor, etc. Then, aside from the resources, there's going to be support and community. So again, many women think they're the only ones. And so we want to show them that they're not. So we're going to have small group meetings similar to AA, where it's like you get around in a circle and there will be a facilitator, and that facilitator will facilitate the meeting. And if you feel on your heart to share that day, then you share about your story. If you just want to listen to other women's stories, then you listen to other women's stories. And then we'll have, fundraisers. Donors will be able to figure out which column they want to donate to. There will be all kinds of things, but those are our three main things: community, resources, and support.
Wow, that's really good. And I pray that if someone is listening right now and you need to get out of a toxic not even relationship, but just a toxic situation, whether that be a relationship or be at home or be a friend, anything, I pray that you can hear this and you can see that there's something for you and to help you get out of a situation. So if there is someone listening right now, please reach out to either myself or Jojo after this, and we would be willing to help you through your situation.
Yes.
So what is, just to kind of close us out, and if there's anything else you'd like to say with this statement, but what is some advice that you would give to someone in this situation, coming from experiencing this yourself? And if there's anything else you'd like to say to anybody that's listening today?
Well, first of all, every time I do an interview like this, I always thank the women and men that helped me as I got out. So I just would like to take a moment to do that here as well. I didn't do this on my own. Ultimately, God put people in my life at the right time and at the right place to walk me through this escape and getting out and living the life of my dreams. So thank you to all of you. You know who you are. And the advice that I would give, the folks listening, if you find yourself in a similar situation, is, you got this. I think ultimately, we don't think we got this, because we've been beat down and beat down and beat down, and you're worthless, and you can't do it without us, and you're not going to win, and you're going to come crawling back, and you're going to die out there, and all the words of hate and abuse that we were told is what's constantly going in our head. And I think ultimately, if you're listening, don't believe those words. It's hard. It's easy to say and it's hard to do. But don't believe those words. Believe my words of truth that I'm speaking to you, which is that you are loved, and you are cherished, and you are important, you are beautiful, and you got this, and you are strong, and you are brave, and you got people that will step in with you. So I hope that you do contact us.
Awesome. Well, you're so strong, and you are so powerful and beautiful. And I know it's been a journey to heal from everything that you've been through. What kind of healing have you done? Did you do therapy? Kind of share what that healing process has looked like for you.
So for me, I stayed away from all religious organizations because I felt like they contributed to the problem, to be honest with you. They are very much enablers in my opinion. Many of them. I wouldn't obviously paint it all with a broad stroke. So for me, I went to a therapist that was not a quote unquote Christian therapist, because I wanted answers. I wanted solutions. So find yourself a therapist or come to us and we'll set you up with one that provides you solutions, and you're not going to just go cry on their shoulder. There's a time and a place for that, of course, but you need solutions. And the other part of the healing process was, so for me, it was my partner, Paul, became my husband. Find a community, a core group of people, like what we're trying to provide, in which you can be honest and vulnerable and raw with to truly inspire betterness and healing in you. and realize that you're now coming to the table to change the patterns of behavior that you've been in, which means that many of the patterns of thinking that you think are incorrect.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault. Like, you were taught these things.
Right.
So, like, even now, there's times when I realize, holy cow, like, that is so off base.
Right.
because it's something that I believed for so long, for 29 years.
Yeah.
So realize that you have to change, and that's okay. You are going to come out of this a different person, and that's okay. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's an important part of the journey.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's going to be very, very uncomfortable in that growing stage, because it's going to be something you're not used to, but that is ultimately going to allow you to become what you're meant to become. Like, God did not put you on this earth to be put in a toxic, abusive situation. He wanted love. He wanted admiration. He wanted peace for your life. So that is ultimately, that uncomfortableness is going to allow you to grow and become you.
Amen. Preach it, sister. Amen. That's perfect.
Yeah, so I also asked you 3 fun facts about yourself, so I'm just going to share those that you shared with me. She shared that she taught herself how to play piano, and she plays Arabic music on an Arabic keyboard, which is super cool. I'd love to hear you play that sometimes. Do you have one at home?
I do. I'd love to play for you guys next time you're over.
Yes,
I would
next
love
time. I want to hear that. She speaks fluent Lebanese. And she has 2 sons. She loves being a boy mom. They get her Barbies as gifts, and they play with those, but they also get to play sports together. And she loves spending time with them and her husband, Paul. And, of course, her dog, Zoe, too.
Yes.
Yes. And they have such a beautiful family. So it's very beautiful to see where you were and to where you are now. And like we keep going back to, but it's a glimmer of hope to know that you can have the life that you were put on this earth to have.
Yes. And I'm proud of you for realizing, especially at your age, that it's not all rainbows and butterflies and whatever. Like, you are putting in the work. And I love seeing women like you put in that work with or without a partner. Like, you have been and whatever, but it's not like, but you are who you are. Yeah. And I love seeing that in a woman. So stay strong and stay brave, and you got this too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then one last thing, we always love to close our episodes with a Bible verse. And I had you choose the Bible verse today, which was 1 Corinthians 13:13. And now these 3 remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. And I love that verse, absolutely, because there's so much hate in this world, and there's so much pain in this world. And if we all just took that verse and applied it to our lives, the world would be such a better place, because all God tells us to do is love. That's what he does. He loves us in every single situation, whether we sin against him or we live for him. But he, at the end of the day, still loves us for who we are. I'll just have you share a little bit on that verse as well as to why you chose it.
Well, I love what you just said. That's absolutely true. I absolutely affirm everything you just said. And the reason I shared that as my favorite is because when I leave this earth, I hope that my legacy is that love. You know, things come and go, people come and go, money comes and goes. Material things, but love will always remain, and love wins, and ultimately it will always win. And it's what my story is all about. Like, I got my husband, the love of my life. I got the dream kids, the dream dog. Like, I'm living the life that I dream because I believe that love wins. So I hope you all do too.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Thanks for allowing me to be vulnerable and emotional and tear up here a few times. It's all happy, like it's a beautiful tear. So I hope everyone knows that healing is a journey, and I hope you all gain something from today's podcast. Yes. So thanks, Steph, for having me on. I love you.
Yes, I love you too, and I'm so grateful that you decided to be on with us today to share your inspiring story for others who are in your situation, and just sharing the hope and love that you have in your life. You have such a beautiful family. You have such a beautiful career. You're creating something absolutely amazing and beautiful. So hold on to that when times are tough.